crisscross applesauce. Hello and happy 4th of July. In honor of 4th of July, we're going to be talking about something that America is not so great at, and that is high school. Let's skate ya in. I want to be framed. Not for a murder. Just framed. I recently graduated high school. Yay for me! Did not drop out. Let's start at the beginning. Freshman year. For some context, I have been going to the same school since kindergarten. I went to a K-12 charter school, which means it's like in between public and private. It does not cost tuition or anything, but it gets less public funding. So there are a lot of families who give sizable donations. So because I went to a K-12 school, I have been pretty much with the same people since kindergarten, which causes some awkwardness. The environment is definitely not the same as at a public school, because once you're in 7th grade, you will not have any new students join your grade. So it gets a little awkward with the dating scene, as you can imagine, because it's like, I've known you since 1st grade, I saw you pick your nose, like, it's weird, okay? But anyway, so I was just in the same building as I was in junior high. I just went down a level, but that didn't mean it wasn't scary starting high school, okay? I was nervous. Freshman year was actually pretty good. I had a good friend group, which I think is the thing that mostly affects how well a year goes and everything. And I had pretty good teachers. I enjoyed my classes, except I was very challenged in English. I took honors English that year, and I hated my teacher for like the first 2 months, because I've always kind of been a goody two-shoes. I've always been good at school, especially English. It's kind of always been my strength. Well, except in kindergarten, I couldn't read. I couldn't get through the title of one of those learning to read books that's like The Cat Sat, so they had to put me in tutoring. But besides that little blip in my early years, I've always been really good at reading and English and everything. So naturally, I took honors English, and I was just upset because my teacher definitely worked us and the class was hard. And I was like, what? How dare she? How dare this not be easy? And I ended up loving that class, and I ended up loving that teacher, because out of pretty much all the classes in all of high school, I think I felt that I learned and grew the most freshman year honors English, because I was just pushed like to the limits, and it was a great class. Like, we had to read the Iliad in a month, and we wrote a paper about it every single week, and we're expected to write extensive annotations, and she just really pushed us. She was definitely all about tough love, but I just felt like I grew so much and learned so much in that class. So I ended up being really grateful for it, and I liked all my other classes. I got cast onto the improv team as one of the 2 freshmen, so I felt really honored by that. I did feel underqualified. So I was definitely insecure when it came to improv, but it ended up being a great growing experience. I know freshman year I was not that good. Also freshman year, I went and saw my school's musical, which obviously they do every year, but this was the first time I went and saw it, and I was absolutely starstruck. My school put on amazing shows, which I didn't know until then, so I saw it and I was like, I need to be in the musical. I need to be in the musical. End of freshman year, I auditioned. They were doing The Little Mermaid, and I completely bombed it. First of all, I was sick. My throat hurt so bad, but I still went. I had been doing theater for a few years outside of school, but I had always stayed away from musical theater because I was terrified of singing in front of people. I went into the audition with like no experience with dancing, singing. I mean, I took ballet when I was 4, but that's it. And I looked like I wanted to die the whole time because I felt so sick. So I wouldn't have wanted to cast me either. But I didn't get cast and I was heartbroken. And I feel like that was the first thing that really snowballed me into the disaster that was sophomore year. Sophomore year was one of the worst years of my life. I felt horrible about myself. I don't know exactly what it was, but I just felt like my confidence plummeted. Part of it was not getting into the musical, and I had close friends who were in the musical, and just feeling left out. I didn't like my classes. I had a horrible English teacher who just hated me, which obviously I was not used to. English was first thing in the morning. I dreaded it. I would skip class and I would go read Les Miserables by myself in the bathroom and eat breakfast in the stall, which is disgusting. My teacher was the Wicked Witch of the West, and she just decided not to like me, probably because I made incest jokes about Frankenstein, and from then on she did not like me. So I had an A in her class both semesters, but there was, in the beginning of second semester, she called me in her class during lunch, and I thought I was in trouble for being late or not showing up again, but it's fine. And I had signed up to do honors English junior year, and she looked at me and she was like, I saw that you signed up to do honors English next year. And I was like, yeah, I did. And she goes, well, you better step it up if you want to get into that class. And I was like, anyway, she was mean. I was really depressed sophomore year. I think the catalyst of that was just a lot of different factors, just growing pains, bad English class. My friend group was kind of falling apart. I didn't feel happy with myself, with the way my friends were. Freshman year, I had a best friend who I absolutely adored. But sophomore year, that was kind of turning into a toxic relationship. And it was definitely my fault as well as hers, and just a lot of different things. And so my confidence was just kind of being rocked in a lot of different directions. I had also gained a lot of weight. I didn't feel good about myself. I was in the counselor's office a lot, and I remember being like, what? No, I'm not depressed. Because I had a depressive episode a few years before, and it was really intense. Like, it was where I would wake up and be like, oh my gosh, I don't feel anything, I want to jump out the window kind of thing. Where this was more subtle, it crept up on me, and so I was like, no, I'm not depressed. Looking back, I'm like, sis, you were definitely depressed, okay? And I also cut my own bangs sophomore year, so if that's not a sign of mental unrest, I don't know what is. Second semester, I started not showing up to school. My mom has always been wonderful, very trusting of me, and I would just kind of be like, I don't feel good, and she'd be like, okay, and let me stay home from school. And my grades didn't suffer from it. I would do homework at home, but I just wasn't going to school, and my friends were noticing, my teachers were noticing. It started to be a thing where I would show up to class and people would be like, what? Where have you been? Oh my gosh, Madison never shows up to class. I was eating lunch by myself. Everything was bad, okay? So somehow, I got through sophomore year. While all that was happening, I was also working really, really hard still, because I still really wanted to be in the musical. That was still a goal of mine. And so throughout sophomore year, I was taking voice lessons, I took tap classes, to just prepare for my audition, and I just worked really, really hard to audition for this musical. And I did, and I got cast, and so the end of sophomore year definitely ended on a high note. I was so happy to be in the musical. It was like all I had wanted. So that brings us to junior year. Junior year was like really good, but also kind of bad. By the beginning of junior year, my friendship with my best friend had just fallen apart in a very dramatic, very high school way. But at the same time, I was like on a slow uptick from sophomore year. I was feeling better about myself. I was happier from the summer. And being in the musical was a huge part of that because I had achieved something that I really, really wanted, and I was now put in this group of awesome, talented people, and we're all working really, really hard on this show. And so I was really busy, but I was really happy because I had a lot of purpose. I had this group of people around me giving me support, and I was working really hard at something like the dances. We were doing Holiday Inn, and we were actually the first high school to perform Holiday Inn after it had been on Broadway, which was super cool. It was the hardest show we ever did, and there was a ton of dances, and I really don't have a dance background, so I would take extra time after school. I worked really hard to get to know those dances, and we had rehearsals all the time. It was super demanding, but just such a rewarding experience. And also through all the dancing and just being happier, I lost like 10 pounds without even trying, just kind of my depression weight. And so my confidence was going up. I just felt happier, but at the same time I had lost a friendship that was really important to me. And in the process of that, I'd kind of fallen back on another friend, which turned out to be kind of another toxic friendship, which kind of put just kind of a dark shadow behind everything in that year. And I really loved my classes junior year. I absolutely adored my English class. I felt like I went through hell sophomore year to be rewarded with this amazing English teacher, this amazing English class. And then I got my first job junior year. I had been on a job hunt for a long time and kind of just not getting anything, which was really disappointing and hard because I've always been an achiever. Like, I want something, I'm gonna go out and get it. And so it was really hard for me to be rejected over and over again. And so I finally got my first job with the help of my friend. We worked at an Indian restaurant, which was a great learning experience, but at the same time it was hard because it was just a small business going through a hard time. So I wasn't getting paid as often as I should have been, and I felt like I just walked in at a bad time, which is totally fine. It was still a great job experience for me. I learned a lot, and then COVID hit. Right before school shut down, I so desperately just wanted life to turn off because there was a lot of drama. I was feeling really stressed with school. I went to a very kind of high demand, high achieving school, so I felt, and just already having my personality, I just felt a lot of pressure all throughout high school to do really well grade-wise, and I was also surrounded by very, very, very smart, overachieving people, like much more than me. And so that was hard. That was kind of just all of high school. And so I remember thinking like, oh, I just want a break. And then COVID happened, and it was like, yes, we get a 2-week spring break. I'm so excited. And then of course school got canceled for the rest of the year, and I loved it. I was absolutely thriving. Online school, just not having anything, and I also wasn't working. They weren't really scheduling me. and I was about to quit my job anyway. I think I came in like twice in June of last year, and then the business shut down, unfortunately. But I just wasn't really doing anything except for online school, and I just kind of threw myself into just self-improvement, I guess. I wasn't really consciously like, I'm gonna become the best version of myself ever. It just kind of happened. I just really thrived being by myself, and I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, my mindset around school is so much healthier now. And I was like, maybe it's because I'm not actually in school surrounded by toxic people. I wasn't crazy stressed about grades anymore. I just didn't care as much. I was going on lots of walks, listening to lots of podcasts, working out, making myself food, reading, it was just a great time. So junior year ended, and this time last year, I felt absolutely amazing. I felt really confident, really great. The only thing was I still had that toxic friendship in my life, which ended that summer. And then senior year, I actually decided to stay online for first semester because I was like, I do not care that it is my last year of high school. I have not had the best time. Like, school, no. I feel so much better online. I am staying online. So I stayed online, and I got a job at Chick-fil-A in September. And I loved being online first semester. It really gave me the freedom to work more, work during the day. It gave me the freedom to travel to California to visit my boyfriend. And then second semester of this year, I decided to go back in person because all my friends were like, Madison, you should come back. And I was like, yeah, this is my last semester of high school ever. I should go back in person. And it was made a lot better because I had a partial in the morning, so I didn't even have to be there till like 9:30 every morning, and we did Wednesdays online. So I felt like it was a good balance because my biggest problem with school was just like going. I really had trouble going to school and justifying being there for 8 hours a day when I knew I could do all that work myself in like 4 hours. So second semester overall was a good experience. I still had trouble going to school, so I wasn't in class as much as I should have been, but I enjoyed being able to be there and get to know my teachers. I loved all my teachers, and it was good to see my friends and be there with my classmates, and it definitely gave me some more structure that last semester. And it feels a little weird making this video knowing that high school is over because of COVID and school shutting down and everything and a lot of events not happening. Senior year did not feel like senior year. It felt like an extension of junior year. And so it's weird thinking that this school that I was at for 13 years, like, I'm done with that phase of my life. So it's weird, and I feel like it hasn't completely hit me yet. Last day of school this year, I cried when I got home, and I cried because I did not feel anything during the school day. I didn't feel sad, I didn't feel overjoyed, and I cried because I felt like I lost an experience. And I've kind of had this feeling all of high school, like, what is this? I'm not having fun. And all throughout high school was just like pressure, feeling stressed, just working on homework a lot. I mean, there were definitely high moments just with friends and with theater and stuff, but school itself was not amazing. That is it. I hope you enjoyed.